Leo Terrell, civil rights attorney and Fox News contributor, and Andrew Cherkasky, a former federal prosecutor. Welcome, gentlemen. Mr. Terrell, looks like they're all running from the hills right now. They're all running away. All of a sudden, everything's been pushed back. And lo and behold, Alvin Bragg in New York. Wow. What do you make of this, Leo? What's cooking here?
Well, first of all, Larry, that was a perfect opening statement. Package it up and give it to Trump. Let me tell you right now,
Thank you.
President Trump has had a perfect week. A perfect week, not only from the debate, but the Supreme Court ruling. And what you see now is a rippling effect. 5 minutes after that ruling, I said Trump should file a motion to set aside the New York fake hush money case. And it's happening because that case was built on evidence that is inadmissible per the Supreme Court ruling. And I want you to understand one other thing with Judge McCain's ruling, September 18th, where he's going to have that ruling. If necessary. You know why? Because it may not be necessary. That case should be thrown out because that case was built on false, inadmissible evidence. So when you have that and you have the situation with the January 6th case, all these political cases that were motivated by politics and not justice are on life support. They are dead on arrival. It's been a great week. None of these cases will have any effect prior to the election in November when Trump becomes president, Larry.
You know, that's by the way, Andrew, another point. Let's not forget the so-called Enron decision that was, Friday by the Supreme Court. They took that out. They said it was crazy. This was meant to be for financial issues, Sarbanes-Oxley and the Enron scandal, not for people in the lawn of the Capitol. Let me ask you, what's Mr. Trump done wrong? You look at all these cases, you look at what the Supreme Court said, which is what many lawyers have said. It wasn't that radical. I mean, it was based, in my reading, I'm not a lawyer, but it was Nixon. I was reading the actual decision, Nixon versus Fitzgerald back in 1982. It's not, Trump didn't get everything he wanted in this case. It's almost a moderate compromise, if you will. Given that, what has Trump done wrong, and what happens to these cases?
There was nothing extreme or over the top with the Supreme Court decision this week. In fact, it holds that that's what we've seen in our country throughout the history of our country. There's never before been genuine conversations of prosecuting former presidents, even though there's great number of acts that may have been committed over the years that one party or the other could have seen as criminal. In fact, in 1980s, we have the Nixon decision, which says that civil penalties can't be imposed on a president, and typically criminal sanctions would be higher than that. So there's nothing extreme there. I see the left essentially trying to create some histrionics, some hyperbole to motivate their base. But the Supreme Court is doing its job in looking at what the law is. Now, it's taking a long time for Trump to have his fair day in court, to have due process work his way. I often see that as a criminal defense attorney. It takes a long time to win and unravel prosecutions that are unjust in the first place. But that's what we see happening, and I think that we're going to see that all the way up to the election. And I think there's genuine question as to whether that sentencing will ever happen before the election.
Yeah, I mean, Leo, come back to that. I mean, I don't think any of these cases will come to trial before the election. And as you're suggesting, I think you're both suggesting, some of this stuff will be tossed out altogether. So this is the total failure of Biden's weaponization, if you will. This is total failure. From the get-go, I saw a Washington Post poll in the swing states. Trump comes out ahead on democracy. But really, you think this stuff will get tossed out altogether, Leo?
I believe so. The first threshold is this. Everyone in this country knows, Larry, that these cases were motivated because the Democrats did not want President Trump to run for re-election. Though that's the entire motivation. These cases could have been brought earlier, but they timed them and it was wrong. They have lost the motivation per the Supreme Court ruling. That New York case, to me, it's dead because, again, how do you segregate the inadmissible evidence? Jack Smith will not have the opportunity to generate a case prior to the November election. Trump will have the right to appeal any adverse ruling at the district court level. And the January 6th, the classified document case, Larry, Judge Canada is doing her due diligence to make sure everything is taking place and being fair to both sides. not one of these cases, save this tape, not one of these cases will see a courtroom trial date prior to the November election.
All right, well, we're going to save the tape. We save all the tapes, Leo. I mean, that's kind of what happens. We're all in trouble on this if we ever pull it back. Andrew, in this decision, again, I was reading it last night. It's heavy going for an economics guy, not a lawyer. But the opinion, it was Justice Thomas who raised the issue that Jack Smith shouldn't be special prosecutor in the first place. A reference to the Ed Meese, Michael Mukasey amicus, I guess, to the decisions in the South Florida. And Judge Eileen Cannon is going to look at that. Is there a chance that Jack Smith will be thrown out? The cases may be tossed out, but what about his standing?
Well, I think that we have a lot of steps to get there before he's directly challenged. A lot of the evidence and a lot of the charges are going to be challenged first. But Jack Smith and that appointment is something that should be deeply unsettling to the American people.
Well, he was never confirmed by the Senate.
Exactly.
Isn't that an important issue?
He's not elected. He's not confirmed. Right. There's no consequence. He's barely on the payroll as it goes for kind of the idea of officers of the United States. There's a special trust and a special process that goes through. So I think the idea that we have one person being appointed to this position by the political enemy of a former president and not go through a democratic process is in its own right an attack on democracy. That's the sort of thing that the left is just screaming about when it comes to Donald Trump. But that doesn't seem to be all that consistent. It is inherently contradictory because we have, and it's not just Jack Smith, we see it with other special counsel appointments as well. The DOJ is run by the President of the United States, and that's what the Supreme Court said.
Yeah, I mean, it's time to look at that stuff because it runs rampant, right? I mean, you just can't keep using this as a weapon. I mean, it may be illegal. Certainly it violates due process. I say certainly. It seems like it violates due process. I mean, if Judge Cannon does rule on this, it would be a good thing once and for all, because you can't keep having special counsel, special counsel, special counsel. It's crazy.
Well, they will go absolutely crazy if she actually goes that direction. It will go through an appellate process and it'll work its way up. I think that when we are really looking at the Jack Smith issue, we have to look at the Joe Biden issue. He's in charge of the DOJ. He continually denies his involvement in the various prosecutions related to Donald Trump, but he's in charge. And he sends those messages from the podium like he did yesterday to keep on pushing against Donald Trump.
Well, yeah, I watched it 4.5 minutes off the teleprompter, and then he shuffled his way out. It wasn't much to me. Anyway, thanks, gentlemen. Leo, Terrell, thank you. Andrew Cherkasky, thanks very much.